Good morning, everybody. Thank you for indulging the moving of this committee to the afternoon. Unfortunately, the Chief Executive and I had to attend All Leaders and Essex Chief Execs meeting in Chelmsford. And unfortunately, my deputy, as you can see, has other engagements today, so he wasn't able to take the meeting either. So, with that done, I'm going to commence the meeting for Cabinet on Friday, the 27th of June. Agenda says 10:30. It is 2:30, really. So, and I'll move on to item number 1. Apologies for absence, please.
Just to formally report apologies for absence, Leader, from your Deputy Leader, Councillor Ivan Henderson. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Item number 2 is minutes of the last meeting. Are we all happy that they are correct? I need a mover, so I'll move them. I need a seconder.
Quite happy to second, Leader.
Thank you, Councillor Babe. You can tell it's a Friday afternoon already. Okay, I'll sign them in a minute. Any declarations of interest? No? Okay. Number 4, announcements by the Leader of the Council. I'm not going to have any announcements today. Number 5, announcements by Cabinet members. Councillor Cox.
Thank you, Leader. And on the 30th of May, I signed a memorandum of understanding on the prevention investigation, enforcement and prosecution of crime and antisocial behaviour with our colleagues, our local police colleagues, and also Historic England. And the memorandum of understanding says as follows: I am authorised on behalf of Tendring District Council Community Safety Partnership to become a member of the Alliance to Reduce Crime Against Heritage Crime, which is also known as ARCH, and signatory to the Memorandum of Understanding on the Prevention, Investigation, Enforcement and Prosecution of Heritage and Cultural Property Crime and Antisocial Behaviour. We are delighted to work in partnership with Historic England and to undertake the Heritage Crime Officer training to our enforcement teams, which will make a positive impact on heritage crime locally. We look forward to working with all partners to tackle heritage and cultural property crime and antisocial behaviour, and I look forward to us being engaged in those pieces of work in the coming months and years.
Thank you, Councillor Cott. Anybody else? Councillor Barry.
Yeah, thank you, Leader. Just a very quick announcement that in line with our sport and activity strategy, we have appointed a community sport and activity manager, Charlie Colwell, who started in post this week. So I'd just like to confirm that and ask all members and officers to look out for him and make him welcome in his new post.
Thank you, Councillor Barry. Are there any others? Don't believe so. Excellent. Okay, moving on to agenda item number 6, matters referred to the Cabinet by the Council. There are none on this occasion. Taking us to number 7, matters referred to the Cabinet by a committee. Also none on this occasion, which then takes us on to item number 8, which is the Leader of the Council item, adoption of the Freeport East Retained Business Rates Agreement and Annual Business Plan for 25-26. Right, that would be me. So I'm pleased to propose this update on Freeport East, which is driving investment, innovation and clean growth across our region. The Freeport includes 3 strategic sites, Felixstowe, Harwich and Gateway 14 in Stowmarket, covering 275 hectares of tax-relieved development space. A central part of Freeport's East work is a local growth and investment strategy, which sets out how retained business rates from these sites will be used over the next 25 years. This includes funding for site development to bring forward businesses and jobs on the site, including the port in Harwich. 70% of the retained business rates on the Harwich site are allocated to support the development of the green energy hub, the regeneration and job creation. It's a major opportunity for our district. To support this strategy, a retained business rates agreement has been drafted to provide clarity in how business rates are forecast, collected and managed, and aligns with our council's policies. It has been reviewed by our S151 officer, with minor amendments underway to ensure full consistency. In addition, the Freeport East Business Plan for 25-26 outlines the organisation's priorities for the year ahead. This plan will require approval by founding members, including this council, and it will be published to ensure transparency and accountability. So that's my moving statement. I do need a seconder before I go to questions. Councillor Cox.
Thank you, Leader, and I'm pleased to second this update on Freeport East, which represents a significant opportunity for both Tendring and the wider region. As we've heard, the Freeport is not only a hub for trade and innovation, but it's also a keen driver of clean growth and regeneration. The development of the local growth and investment strategy and the accompanying retained business rates agreement ensures that we have a clear and transparent framework for managing the financial aspects of the Freeport, particularly the reinvestment of business rates into local priorities like the Green Energy Hub in Harwich. I also welcome the progress on the 2025 to 26 business plan, which sets out a strong direction for Freeport East Limited and reflects the collaborative work of all founding partners, including this council. This is a well-structured and forward-looking programme, and I'm happy to support the recommendations that are there for you on page 21.
Thank you, Councillor Cox. And I will go to questions if there are any. Thank you very much. In that case, it's been moved and seconded. Can I have an agreement, please? Agreement. Thank you very much. Okay, agenda item number 9. And that's a report of the economic growth and regeneration of the tourism portfolio holder, who's not available today, so I'll take this one. And this is the Levelling Up Fund, an appropriation of site for planning purposes. We are making good progress delivering with the Levelling Up Fund projects in Clacton. We have planning permission for the impressive new homes and modern multi-storey car park in Carnarvon Road. We have outstanding designs for a new public space at the centre of the development and new space for business and community groups too. This report takes the project forward to the next stage. It seeks Cabinet's approval to appropriate council-owned land at High Street Car Park, Carnarvon Road, Clacton-on-Sea, for the Clacton Terrace development. The recommendations include granting a unilateral undertaking to the Planning Authority to secure obligations related to the affordable housing and the recreational disturbance avoidance and mitigation strategy, better known as RAMS. These actions are necessary to meet funding deadlines, avoid legal risk, and ensure the timely delivery of the development. So I've moved that. I do need a seconder. Have we got a seconder? Councillor Smith.
Thank you, Leader. I'm pleased to second the motion and support the recommendations before us. This is a vital moment in the delivery of our levelling up ambitions for Clacton. The Carnarvon Terrace development is not just about bricks and mortar. It's about creating a better future for our residents. It will provide high quality homes, support local businesses and improve the gateway to our town centre. Appropriating the land now is a prudent and necessary step. It protects the council from legal risk, ensures we can proceed with procurement and gives confidence to our contractors and partners. Without this, we risk delay, increased costs and even the loss of funding. The unilateral undertaking is also a sensible and proportionate way to meet our planning obligations. It ensures transparency and accountability while recognising the unique position of the council as both applicant and landowner. This is about good governance, sound planning and delivering for our community. I urge Cabinet to support the recommendations.
Thank you, Councillor Smith. So it's been moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Smith. So now I'm going to go to questions. Councillor Honeywood.
Thank you, Chairman. Yes, I've had a look through this report and made myself a couple of notes which I want to raise. The first point is on page 99 where it talks about the financial risk, where it says in all the total exposure could be in the region of 200 to 225,000 for Carnarvon Terrace. So I suppose my first question on that is, will that, are we allowing that headroom from the funding we're receiving, or is the council separately covering that potential cost?
That's a very good question. I'm going to go to our 151.
quick answer, yeah, in first discussion we had, that's within the funding we've already set aside, so it's not an additional contribution required from the council at this stage. Yeah.
Okay, thanks very much for that. And the second question is obviously around recommendation E, where it says further decisions will be required following the outcome of the procurement exercises. Now, obviously, the procurement covers things like architects or developers and builders, etc. What's the council's or the cabinet's position should the tenders come in higher than the money being granted under this scheme?
Okay, I'll take a little stab at it. It's a procurement exercise, so it comes in with a boundary and everything else. If it comes over, then it's like you've done this before. If some things are slightly more expensive, then you have to sit there and work out how you're going to mitigate those extra expenses. There's no reason at the moment to think that, but we do have reserve pots and everything else to mitigate any potential, and I say potential with a big P, increase in costs. I think we've been fairly quick and on the money, excuse the pun, about trying to get this through the system as quick as possible so there isn't any inflationary costs and rises and things like that. But you're right, it's a risk like everything else it is when it comes to procurement. You know, you put in for something, it comes back more expensive and you think, all right, I need to find a way through that. Do you want to come in? Mr. Davison.
The only thing I would add to that is, of course, the other option is if you have a project which comes in so much over, you actually have to make a decision whether you're going to carry on and do it as well. So, but you can only look at that as and when you've received the tenders back, and what there is also an element within there that we do have some mitigation funding within there, as we were saying before. But then if it's going to be additional cost to the council, then it's a decision of, is it marginal, is it worth it, or if not, do we have to amend the project, or do we actually say we're going to do something different?
Okay, fine. Thanks very much.
Any other questions? No? In that case, it's been moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Smith. Recommendations are on 95 and 96. Are we in agreement? Thank you very much. The next item is item number 10, and this is a Cabinet member item, the reports of the Housing and Planning Portfolio Holder, the Annual Housing Complaints Performance and Self-Improvement Report, including self-assessment against the Housing Ombudsman Complaints Handling Code. And I think this one is yours, Councillor Baker.
It is indeed. Leader, I introduced to Cabinet the Annual Housing Complaints Performance and Service Improvement Report, which, as Cabinet is well aware, is required under the Housing Ombudsman regime. The Complaint Handling Code of 2024 requires landlords to produce an annual complaints performance and service improvement report for scrutiny and challenge, and this information should be presented to the landlord's governing body. The Complaint Handling Code requires one member of the governing body to have lead responsibility of housing complaints. That role is responsible for ensuring the governing body receives regular information on complaints that provides insight and learning on the landlord's complaint handling performance. You'll recall, Leader, that at our Cabinet meeting in May last year, I was endorsed by Cabinet to perform the role of member responsible for complaints for the purposes of the Code. In that respect, I'm responsible for ensuring that the self-assessment, so Appendix A to this report, is scrutinised and challenged, and for ensuring that complaint handling drives improvement. Since April 2024, I've also undertaken an ongoing monitoring role and chair the Internal Housing Improvement Board and have information regarding complaints provided to me on a quarterly basis. As can be seen from the report, in the period from April 2024 to March 2025, there are a total of 90 complaints, and of those complaints, Stage 1 complaints were 78 and those at Stage 2, 12. You will see within Appendix B to this report, the Housing Complaints Report, from page 189 onwards, the numbers of complaints broken down by month, service area and outcomes. I'm also pleased to bring it to Cabinet's attention the response times to complaints, with 93.6% of Stage 1 complaints being responded to within the 10 working days set within the Code, and 91.7% of the Stage 2 complaints being responded to within the 20 working days set within the Code. At the top of page 198 of the agenda, Leader, Cabinet will see the comparison against last year's figures, where there's been a significant increase in performance, which is good to see. On Tuesday of this week, the complaints report was provided to the Tenants Panel as part of their scrutiny for comment. They agreed that there had been improvement, especially around the figures I've just mentioned. They've also agreed to set up various subcommittees to look deeper into various issues, one of those to include inquiries into the complaints made, and I look forward to their findings in due course. Finally, Leader, I'd like to also inform Cabinet that the Local Government and Social Care Ombudsman and the Housing Ombudsman have recently consulted on having a single code across both their areas of responsibility. As a result, and in recognition of the different legal powers each hold, they have agreed to produce two closely aligned codes. In view of this, the Council looked to harmonise both the corporate and housing complaints policies to deliver the expectations of the closely aligned Ombudsman codes. I'm pleased to say that such a policy was presented to the Audit Committee yesterday, who agreed to recommend to this Cabinet that it be adopted, and I am hopeful that this will be on the agenda for our July meeting. The recommendations in reference to the annual housing complaints are shown on pages 148 and 149, and I commend them to Cabinet. Thank you, Leader.
Thank you, Councillor Baker. And you formally need a reply. So in seconding the report, there is a requirement for Cabinet to respond, and I would suggest that the response is on the following lines. Cabinet welcomes the annual housing complaints performance and service improvement report, including self-assessment against the Housing Ombudsman Complaint Handling Code, presented by Councillor Baker in his role as portfolio holder for housing and planning and member responsible for housing-related complaints. We would like to thank Councillor Baker for taking on this role and his commitment to it over the past year. We know that he has an eye for detail and he's keen to deliver the best services for our tenants. His drive, scrutiny of data and chairmanship of the Housing Improvement Board has, we are sure, led to some of the improvements presented in the report. The service has also introduced a raft of new policies, with more to come. Complaints are an important part of the delivery of our housing lord function, and genuine complaints, constructively made, can highlight areas where the services can be improved and provide opportunities to question our approach. Cabinet is pleased to see an improvement in complaint response times. If we are to take complaints seriously, we must ensure that we respond within published timescales. It would be good to see a year-on-year improvement in response times. Satisfaction with our approach to complaints handling, as measured through the annual tenant satisfaction survey, has also improved when compared to the 23-24 survey response. We feel that this is a good indication that the service is getting things right, but along with Councillor Baker, we would like to see a further improvement on this satisfaction rate and would like Councillor Baker to explore how this can be improved with representations of the Tenants Panel and officers. With involvement from the Tenants Panel, we would like to hear more about service improvements and learning from complaints. The setting up of a Tenants Panel subgroup to explore this in more detail is welcomed. In particular, are there particular things to complaints that we can understand better? The self-assessment against the Housing Ombudsman Complaints Code is an important document that Councillor Baker has had input to. The overall Cabinet endorses the self-assessment, but would like to see more detail on complaint themes and trends in future reports. And that's our response. So it's been moved, it's been seconded. Do we have any questions? Councillor Honeywood.
You'd be disappointed if I hadn't.
Even waited a little bit longer than I normally do.
Yeah, I've got a couple of questions, and they're around the report on page 155 of the report. And it says in there, since the implementation of the Housing Ombudsman's Complaint Handling Code, there has been an increase in the number of housing complaints being recorded. Now, this is something that I think we all expected, because if you change the rules around complaining, you're going to get a different result, which is fair enough. But my question is, how does this compare with other councils? Because they're now operating under same or similar rules. So a good gauge of how we're doing would be to compare us to a similar council to see how they're doing. So I wondered if that's been looked at, and if so, how we fare compared to other councils.
Councillor Baker.
It's not something that I've looked into. If we looked to compare ourselves against Colchester. They do not hold their own housing stock. They have an arm's length management organisation. Braintree don't have any housing stock. They've given it away. It's something that the tenant sub-panel or subcommittee would be asked to look at. But I think you're right that we should look at a sort of maybe 4 or 5, 6 other councils for next year's figures and see where we are. I don't particularly like, a league table, but I think it would be an exercise worth doing, and I'll take your comments on board. Thank you for those.
Okay, thank you very much. The second question I have.
Can I just bring in Mr. Davison?
Can I just make a point? Councillor Honeywood's got a very good point. I think there is a timing issue because actually the code was started on the 1st of April 2024, and then obviously the implementation. So I think that probably by the time you get a year round, which will only just happen to the 31st of March 2025, starting on the 1st of April 2024, people won't have started then. So you probably won't have a full year. I think your point is a really good one. It'll be interesting to see. The other problem, of course, is which we've always had about when you're looking at benchmarking, is how do you make sure that they are alike councils to benchmark reasonably? Your point about Braintree and Colchester, of course, is right, is they have got different systems to us. But I think that there is probably a piece of work. I would say as part of the panel, they may want to be saying in sort of 6 months sort of time. I didn't want to commit to something which is sort of immediate, just because it only started on the 1st of April 2024. A year takes you to 31st 2025, so that actually they didn't start on the day. They wouldn't have started on the day of the new legislation. It would have had a lead-in time. So I just think it would be. What I'm saying is pick the right time of that to make sure the comparison is valuable and useful. Otherwise, you'll be saying, oh, well, actually, that they were still using the old system. So it wouldn't be as much value as you're suggesting, Councillor Honeywood, which I think is a very good point.
Councillor Baker.
I've just been reminded by our officers that I have an ARCH meeting, so the Association of Retained Council House meeting on Monday. So they have a tenants group, and they possibly will have other data from other councils, so I'll raise it with them as well and see if I can get something, albeit, as Mr. Davison says, it won't be possibly a true reflection of everybody, but it might give us an idea. Thank you.
Back to you, Councillor Honeywood.
Yeah, my second was around the quarterly review, which is obviously I think Councillor Baker referred to it in his statement. The portfolio holder for housing and planning, who is a member responsible for complaints, etc., has received the quarterly report. Maybe I missed it, so if I have, apologies. But what are the trends within the complaints we're receiving? And by that I mean, are they, for example, damp or mould, or are we talking problems with central heating systems? What are the trends that are being picked up from those?
I think in regard to that, I'd have to do some digging into the information I get provided every quarter to give you a proper response. I wouldn't want to sort of hazard a guess as to which ones are the highest complained of. I'll give you a written response to those.
Okay, thanks very much.
Anything else? No? Anybody else got any other questions? Okay, it's been moved by Councillor Baker, seconded by me. The recommendations, page 14A, 149. Can I have an agreement? Agreed. Thank you very much. Keeping the theme with the Councillor Baker, this one's Cabinet Members' Report of Housing and Portfolio Holder, the outturn of performance against the Regulator of Social Housing Tenant Satisfaction Measures for 24-25. Councillor Baker.
Thank you, Chairman. I'm pleased to introduce this report to Cabinet on the Council's performance of the Regulator for Social Housing's, I'll refer to that as the RSH, Tenant Satisfaction Measures, TSMs, for 24-25. As Cabinet is aware, all social housing providers are required by the regulator to collect data to inform the tenant satisfaction measures which are aimed at improving standards for those living in social housing. There are 22 standards. satisfaction measures grouped into 5 themes, these being keeping properties in good repair, maintaining building safety, respectful and helpful engagement, complaints handling and neighbourhood management. 12 of the measures are measured by an annual tenant perception survey, with the other 10 measured by landlords through performance indicators and data. The RSH sets out its requirements for data collection and reporting, including mandatory questions and methodology. Landlords with over 1,000 or more homes are required to submit their data to the regulator by the 30th of June, so Monday. As can be seen from the report, this council's performance against the tenant satisfaction measures indicates a general improvement in performance and tenant satisfaction, although there are areas where there has been a decrease in relation to repairs and satisfaction in the time taken to complete a repair. I would draw Cabinet's attention to the data which is shown in Appendix A to this report, pages 211 to 212, as well as the comparison between the previous year's data to this in Appendix B, and that's pages 213 to 215. There is, Leader, a slight amendment to the data shown for the tenant satisfaction measure NM01, page 212, the number of antisocial behaviour cases per 1,000. Within the agenda it shows 98.5. This should in fact read as 98.8, and I would be glad if that would be minuted. As I mentioned in the previous report, there was a tenants panel meeting this week, and these satisfaction measures discussed with them together with the setting up of subcommittee to look into various issues, including the detail of the data provided around the satisfaction measures. I do not intend to say any more, Leader, as there is a wealth of information provided in the report. The recommendations are shown on page 202, and I recommend them to Cabinet. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Baker, and falls to me to second again. So my response, or my second, is thank you, Councillor Baker, for your comprehensive introduction to this item. I am pleased to hear that our performance in respect to the tenant satisfaction measures has, on the whole, improved when compared to the data collected last year. It is important that we continue to seek further improvement, and I'm pleased to hear your proposal to set up subgroups in the tenants panel from the previous meeting to explore the things from the tenant satisfaction measures in more detail. I would therefore like to second this item. So that's my seconding. It's been moved by Councillor Baker, seconded by me. I'll open it up to questions. Nothing, Councillor Honeywood? And that, I'm just preempting. Okay, it's been moved and seconded. No other questions. Can I get an agreement, please? Thank you. Right, I'm going to move us on to agenda item number 12. I'm moving away from Councillor Baker. This is the Cabinet Member Items report of the Leisure and Public Realm Portfolio Holder, delivery of 4 new play zone activity hubs for the district. This is over to you, Councillor Barry.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Leader. Yeah, I'm very pleased to move the recommendations set out under agenda item 12 here on page 219, 220. There are quite a lot of them, but they're all linked, and they cover all aspects of the funding, managing and delivery of this project. We're seeking here today Cabinet's approval to accept significant external funding from the Football Foundation and to progress the delivery of 4 new play zone activity hubs across our district. The play zones will be located at Clacton Leisure Centre, Bathhouse Meadow, Walton on the Naze, Cliff Park, Harwich and Crossways, Jaywick Sands. The project is a key action within our adopted sport and activity strategy and aligns with our corporate plan priorities, particularly promoting pride in our area, improving quality of life and raising aspirations. The play zones will be modern, floodlit, multi-use activity hubs designed to be inclusive, accessible and largely free to use. They will support physical and mental well-being, reduce social isolation and provide safe spaces for young people and families to be active across the Tenryn district. Costing around £1.12 million, the Football Foundation has offered over £839,000 in funding, and it is proposed that the Council's match funding of £279,000 is met from a combination of Section 106 contributions and existing budgets. This is a significant return on investment and a very good example of accessing external funding to deliver local priorities. The report also outlines a robust delivery plan, including the use of the Football Foundation's pre-procured framework to ensure value for money and timely delivery. The Council will collaborate with local organisations on facility programming and long-term management in order to maximise the use of these facilities and ensure they are sustainable. Construction is expected to begin in early 2026 with completion by late spring of that year, so fairly quick a turnaround. Finally, can I commend the officers involved in their careful planning, their collaboration with partners, and their clear-eyed approach to managing the risk and ensuring value for money from this project. This is a project that will leave a lasting legacy for the district. I commend the report to Cabinet and move the recommendations as set out. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Barry. Do you have a seconder? Councillor Smith.
Thank you, Leader. I'm pleased to second this report and to support the recommendations. This is a fantastic opportunity to deliver high-quality, inclusive facilities in areas where they are most needed. Would you like me to start from the beginning?
If I'm
Start again.
if I may,
Happy to start.
Leader,
Before you do though,
if I may, Leader, the former chairman may remember that when that happens, there's a contribution normally to the chairman's fund, but as former chairman, he will remember that.
Former chairman's fully aware.
It's gone up though.
so let's try that again.
Thank you.
Seconder, part 2, Councillor Smith.
Everyone's phones okay? Excellent. Thank you. I'm pleased to second this report and to support the recommendations. This is a fantastic opportunity to deliver high-quality, inclusive facilities in areas where they are most needed. The consultation has shown strong community support, and the locations selected reflect both need and opportunity. These play zones will not only encourage physical activity, but also support wider social outcomes, reducing antisocial behaviour, improving community cohesion, and supporting our ambitions around health and well-being. I particularly welcome the focus on programming and community engagement, ensuring these spaces are well used and sustainable in the long term. This is a great example of partnership working and place-based investment, and I urge Cabinet to support the recommendations. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Smith. Do I have any questions? Well, I'm going to make a comment. I'd just like to add that, you know, amongst all the things that have come through, we've now managed to, this administration that is, has managed to bring in an extra £2.5 million in external investment into our sports areas. And I'm really, really glad for the play zones, and I hope that they continue and bring more. It's been moved. It's been seconded. Are we in agreement? Thank you very much. Agenda item number 13, and this is moving on to Councillor Placey for the report of the Partnerships Portfolio Holder, Tennering District Career Track Apprenticeships. Councillor Placey.
Thank you, Leader. Save the best till last. And I'm pleased to see some officers from Career Track here, and thank you very much for all the hard work that you've been doing. So, colleagues, I'm pleased to present the annual update on Career Track, Tennering District Council's long-standing apprenticeship training provider. Established in 1983, Career Track has now been delivering high-quality apprenticeship opportunities for over 40 years. Throughout this time, he has played a vital role in supporting local talent, enhancing workforce skills, and contributing to the district's economic and social well-being. Career Track remains central to our efforts to raise aspirations and create meaningful opportunities for residents, particularly in response to the educational and employment challenges faced across our district. Over the past year, the programme has experienced notable growth. The number of apprentices has increased by 32%, with 54 learners currently enrolled, 29 of whom are employed within the council. The expansion is a key component of our workforce development strategy, with approximately 1/5 of current council staff having begun their careers through Career Track. This equates to just over 100 employees at present. Members will recall that the most recent Ofsted inspection rated the programme as good. Apprentices reported that they enjoy their learning, feel well supported, and are making strong progress. Employers also confirmed that apprentices are developing the skills and behaviours essential to their roles. Career Track continues to operate efficiently despite a challenging fiscal environment. Government funding band levels have remained unchanged since 2017, placing increasing pressure on training providers. Nevertheless, I am pleased to report that through the efforts of officers, the service is forecast to reduce its net cost by 13% in the 25-26 financial year. This reflects the team's commitment to delivering value while maintaining high standards of training and support. The programme also benefits from robust governance through its dedicated Board of Governors, which includes representatives from the education sector and neighbouring councils in Colchester and Braintree. This breadth of experience and regional insight strengthens oversight and ensures the Career Track remains responsive, accountable and forward-looking, particularly as we prepare for future opportunities through local government reorganisation. In summary, Career Track continues to deliver real value, supporting our vision, strengthening our workforce and raising aspirations while delivering meaningful opportunities for local residents. I commend the team for their dedication and look forward to Cabinet's continued support. And I so move the recommendations on page 244. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Placey. Do you have a seconder? Councillor Scott.
Thank you, Leader. I'm pleased to second this report and to echo the commendation of the Career Track team for their continued dedication and impact. As highlighted, Career Track is not only a long-standing service with over 4 decades of delivery, but is also a vital part of our council strategy to raise aspirations and create meaningful opportunities for our residents across the district. The programme's growth, now supporting 54 apprentices, including 29 within our own council, demonstrates its increasing relevance and reach. The positive Ofsted outcome, alongside strong learner and employer feedback, confirms that Career Track is delivering high quality training that meets the needs of both individuals and the wider public sector. In the challenging financial climate, the forecast reduction is net cost by 13% for 25-26 is a testament to the team's commitment to sustainability and value for money. This is especially important as we look ahead to the opportunities and challenges presented by local government reorganisation. Career Track is a clear example of how we can invest in people, strengthening our workforce and support the long-term resilience of local government, raising aspirations and creating opportunities at the heart of what Career Track is all about. Improving access to skills, learning and training for our residents. This directly supports 10 District Council's vision to empower individuals, build stronger communities and ensure a sustainable future for all. I fully support the recommendations and I look forward to seeing the programme continue to succeed in the coming years. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Scott. So it's been moved by Councillor Placey and seconded by Councillor Scott. Do we have any comments? Mr. Davidson.
If I may, this is one of the things which I'm really passionate about. I see Councillor Chapman's going to come in, so apologies if I'm going to say anything you might say. I'm sorry, but you know how strongly I feel about this. For many councils, this is not as important as it is for us, and I say that because our socio-demographics, our challenges, number of young people who don't go on to further education, we create that already. Around 100 of our employees now went through Career Track. About a fifth of them now were there. But you look back over the years and what that is, and that's, I mean, you know, the obvious one we always mention is Gary Give. He's not here today, but you know, and starting that and creating the skills and creating those people going through for the future. But it's also about creating aspirations in our communities, and it's not one person; it's whole families which end up creating that aspiration, because those people may not have got a job, get a job, they go on, their children then get that aspiration and that strength, and they go on. So the impact of one, and I was reading an article about this only the other week about the impact of one going on for further education, a job. Actually, you have the telescopic effect of it can be 2 and then 4 and then 8, because it is the family which it affects and around. So this is a really important thing always for councils. It's about growing your own and about finding, it's always difficult for councils to recruit, but it's magnifiedly important for tendering and how successful it is because of our socio-demographics. And to see obviously also, as Councillor Placey said, around sort of managing with the budget issue and the challenges, etc., only is added testament to what's been achieved. There's a lot of really good information in the report. It's one that kind of like, I shall be tearing that out and keeping that one as a separate one as there, because it is so important. So I just really wanted to endorse, it is part of the culture of this council, that how we grow people, how we support people and what we deliver, but also recognising our own socio-demographics and supporting our young people. Thank you, Leader.
You're welcome. I was going to go next, but I feel like I would take even more from you, Councillor Chapman. So I'll let you go next. Councillor Chapman.
Well, I did write a bit here, but it's all scratched out now. No, I was just going to say I want to echo and endorse the comments from the Cabinet and the Chief Exec, and thank the staff. It was a rough ride they went through. They could have so easily given up on the whole project, and nobody really would have blamed them, I think, after the report, but they didn't. You know, they buckled down, if that's the right word, and come out with an excellent report. So I just want to say thank you to them also.
Okay. Now I haven't taken any of yours, but Ian did take some mine. Doesn't matter, I'm just going to do it again. So it was a bit fortuitous, I think, that Gina said, I'll save the best till last, you know? And I think spot on the money there. I think from a council point of view, and I can speak for quite a few councillors, there's a very big fondness around Career Track. We all sit there, and when somebody says, oh, we're thinking of possibly, no, you can't touch Career Track. You can do anything else but not Career Track. And it goes to show, you know, how excellent we all see it, and the retention that we have around it. And there are some, there's been some arguments around the cost of it, but then they're easily countered by a lot of us by saying, well, the cost of advertising and the cost of retaining staff is just a better way of mitigating that. And I think one of the things for me, this is local people, and that's where the retention comes from. These are people who live in the district that work for us, and it's a great thing. Ian talks about a fifth of the staff have gone through Career Track, but that still work for us. But there's a whole host of people that have moved on and now work in other parts of the public sector, you know, that learnt, you know, cut their teeth at tendering, and now take our excellent standards elsewhere to improve all those other organisations. Of course, I'd say that. So I think, whilst I have the opportunity, I would like to give Cabinet's thanks to the staff who went through tough times and have now delivered what I think to be excellent, and you will always have our support around this. Go on in. It's been moved by Councillor Placey, seconded by Councillor Scott. Do I have an agreement on this one? Thank you very much. Number 14 is management items, management team items. On this occasion, there are none. Number 15 is exclusion of the press and public, but this is only to approve the minutes. So with everybody's agreement, I'm just happy to move them on block. Okay. In that case, that takes us to the date of the next meeting, which is Friday the 25th of July 2025, and I hereby close the very hot meeting.